shields only and simply because they're trying to get at the insurgents?
Well, very good question, Mope. Rules of engagement, who designed the rules of engagement? The Geneva Convention says that when you are fighting men in uniform and you capture them, you don't execute them extrajudicially. You hold them as prisoners of war. But in this particular case, the people that are engaging uniformed men of Nigeria under the guise of JTF or multinational JTF are insurgents that don't have uniform, that do not have defined military, do not have the architecture of the war is undefined. So how do you expect a soldier who has a family, who has children, who volunteered to serve his nation, and he is on patrol, and somebody shoots at him, his training tells him to respond and ask questions later. And in responding, after the effects, he found out that he had killed innocent people because a coward hid behind such innocent people. This is a psychological trauma to the soldier. He will need to go through rehabilitation in order to be a full soldier again, because he killed somebody he wasn't meant to be. So there are many victims in this whole thing. The soldier himself is a victim. The community that is being devastated are victims. And the parents of the insurgent are victims who don't understand why their children will become insurgents. The federal government must hurry up so that we can begin to rebuild these devastated areas and bring them back into the Committee of Nations to be part of Nigeria. For two strategic issues, we are expecting an election in 2015, and you need stability to have such an election. And you are expecting a census in 2016, and you need stability to do that. I feel for the people of Baga, because as a young Biafran, I felt their pain. I saw innocent people die. But that goes with the war, and we have gone beyond that. So when you put innocent people in front of you, they are bound to be collateral in this issue of kinetic engagement.
Mr. Gbanite, you're saying that because the war is an unconventional war, the soldiers are not bound by convention.
Well, you can say that. This war is not a symmetrical war. There is no defined boundary of rules of engagement. This is asymmetrical, and the United States have proven so. And when they went into the rendition issue, it was because this is an undefined war. Who defined this? The insurgents. This issue was not defined by the Nigerian government or the multinational joint task force. The architecture of the war is designed by the insurgent. And the insurgent put innocent people of Baga on harm's way, and not the federal government, Chadian government, or Nigerian government.
Does that mean
we have to be able to disseminate this fact and not get emotional erection unnecessarily?
Does that mean that the mindset is that this is a war, not an operation, because you have a multinational task force involved in this one?
Well, we have had community clashes that are war. Anytime there are two people engaged in serious fighting, it is a war. And the insurgents have said that they've declared war on Nigeria. And the multinational joint task force are contributing. My concern is why Cameroon should be docile in this issue. They were supposed to be part of this multinational. And evidence have shown that 60% of the serious weapons that enter our border, such as RPG and mortar grenades, are coming through that area. And if you do remember, part of that particular area were once Nigeria before Obasanjo ceded them to Cameroon. So there is what we call community affiliation and community affinity. So weapons coming in from Darfur, Sudan can easily enter there. And one thing behaviorally that we need to take cognizance of is the insurgent, being from Kanuri, Borno, has this intellectual superiority because at the initial, he feels that he conquered the Songhai Empire, reaching out to Mali, reaching out to Sudan, before the Hausa Fulani took over governance from him. So he feels that he is a warrior, and he is a competent warrior, and we must take him very serious. And that's why this issue is not a regional matter. It is a national disaster, and we must handle this thing with all hands embraced. The print media cannot take sides with the insurgency. The print media must wait. Let me digress a little bit to what happened in Boston. We don't have all the time, Mr. Gbanite. I'm afraid we'll have to let it go. Please, allow me to say this before, if you don't mind. In the reportage in Boston, the media waited till the police briefed them before they put this information on the news. They did not create stories. They worked with the law enforcement agencies, and the media ought to learn to work with Nigerian law enforcement agencies also. Well, and I commend you for always being on board in telling Nigerians the truth. And that's why Channel remains #1. All right, Mr. Max Gbanite, don't forget, the media can wait for briefings. It doesn't mean there can be no reports before the briefings. But thank you all the same. Max Gbanite, strategic security consultant, speaking with us today about the mass killing in Baga. Well, it's time to take a look at the headline news again with Cynthia Are.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Here is a look at the headlines again. The Pan-Yoruba social political group, the Afenifere, has rejected the proposal for the amnesty for Boko Haram, and the group, in an interactive session with journalists yesterday in Lagos, said the Boko Haram have engaged in outright lawlessness and should therefore not be treated with kid gloves. In the meantime, the President has approved the inclusion of new members into the Committee on Dialogue and Peaceful Resolution of Security Challenges in the North. A statement from the Presidency says Mrs. Aisha Wakil has been included on the list of members of the committee, which had been given the task of identifying and constructively engaging key leaders of Boko Haram, as well as developing a workable framework for amnesty and disarmament of the group. And here's the update on Baga. The military has revealed more on the duel between Nigerian soldiers and militants in Baga local government in Borno state. According to the release, the army lost 1 soldier while 5 other soldiers were seriously injured. It further stated that 30 Boko Haram insurgents lost their lives. Another 5 were arrested and many escaped with bullet wounds. A statement signed by the Director of Defense Intelligence Abuja says multinational Joint Task Force group troops were on routine patrol at Baga when the Boko Haram sect members opened fire on them. And on the foreign scene, an 8-story building has collapsed in the Bangladeshi capital, Dhaka, leaving at least 3 people dead. A fire service official said more people were feared trapped inside the building. A market and a garment factory were among businesses located in the building, which was on the outskirts of the capital. And those are the headlines. Sunrise continues shortly.
Oh, yes, it will. So, join us again.
My number done there for table, it means I sit to carry and come to MTN. Easy, the number where you there use now and before carry they go, yeah. I don't want MTN.
Switch to MTN and still retain your number from other networks. Walk into any MTN authorized outlet and send the word port to 3232.
MTN, everywhere you go.